Hello everyone and welcome to this final engagement session, at least for now. We're so excited to have you join us here online tonight or this morning or this afternoon, whichever time zone you find yourself in. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us, and we're looking forward to spending this next little hour with you. My name is Ida.
And I'm Kasper, and together with Ida, we are leading our bid team here from Denmark. Out in the back, we have some scouts doing all the technical stuff, so they will help us out during the session. And we also got Mathilde at our side here, taking note in the chat, answering your questions, and she will join us here in the studio for the Q&A.
Yes. And for this session, we have a lot on the agenda. During this next hour, we will together dive into the thoughts and the visions behind our bid for the 27th World Scout Jamboree. We will reflect with each other, have discussions, and also a small quiz about Denmark. And we'll hear from you during the discussions where you share your ideas on how we can create an impactful jamboree for our movement. And lastly, we will, of course, answer all of your questions, learn from them and your comments. And we will both be answering questions during the session. When you write questions in the chat, some of them will be answered directly by Mathilde, as Kasper said. But we'll also do a questions session at the end of the session where it will address some of the questions as well. How many we will have time for, I don't know, but write all the questions that you have and just keep them coming. And we will record this session, so it will also be made available online when we're done with all of these engagement sessions. So if you know of someone who couldn't take part, or if you want some of your other friends from your NSO to hear this, you can share it with them afterwards. And lastly, it's also possible for you to write questions in the Q&A in your own language. Then we will make sure to translate it and answer the best we can. All right, let's get this started.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, to kick this session off, we would like to have you all reflect a bit with us. And please reflect on what your happiest Scout Camp memory is. What is the best Scout Camp memory you have? Because it is these kind of memories we want to give to the next generation of Scouts. So in a second, I will put on a short video. It will be around 3 minutes long. And while you reflect, you can share your memories in the chat for everyone to see. And hopefully we will see some nice memories from you guys out there. So let's put on the video. thank you so much for reflecting a bit with us. We will end this part of the session right now. If you're still writing in the chat, you can do that and post it. That's fine. I hope everyone is now in the mood to create the best possible World Scout Jamboree so we can give these great scouting memories on to the next generation of scouts. But first, Ida, what are we going to do?
Yes. First, we are going to have a small quiz about Denmark, because many of you have maybe heard about Denmark before, but what do you actually know about Denmark? This is just a small quiz with a few questions about Danish Scouts and Danish history. And we'll take one question at a time, and the question will pop up on your screen and give you the option of choosing the answer that you think is the right one. So, without further ado, let's take the first question. In 1909, the first Scout organization in Denmark was established, and in 1924, the second World Scout Jamboree, so that's 100 years ago, was held in Denmark. How many participants took part in this jamboree? Was it 3,994? Was it 5,686? Or was it 4,549 participants in the second World Scout Jamboree ever held in the world? Did you put in your answer?
Yes.
Good. Do you think you got it right this time?
I hope I did.
I hope so too. All right, Casper, what's the right answer?
Oh, then I need, now it popped on my screen here. The right answer is, of course, 4,549 participants already at the second World Scout Jamboree in 1924.
Yeah, so that's it's pretty cool that already, even in the very beginning of the movement, we had so many young people taking part. And actually people from more than 30 countries took part way back then. And that's 100 years ago, so we're going to celebrate this year in Denmark that it's 100 years ago that we had the first Danish World Scout Jamboree. And hopefully in 2031 we can have it once again. Next question. Since 1907, Scouting has developed children and young people through play and activities. In 1932, a company called Lego, which you might know, was established with a similar purpose. The Lego Foundation is a foundation that supports projects that builds capacity and competencies in children and young people through play and activities. And it's very similar, their mission is very similar to Scouting's mission. What is their motto? Is it serious play? Is it learning through play? Or is it play together? Once again, put in your guesses, and that goes for you as well, Casper.
I'm going for 5 out of 5.
This time, okay, this is the last session, and now you'll get it right, right? That's the aim, that's the goal of this quiz. The correct answer is, as many of you have guessed, I see, learning through play. Somewhat similar to learning by doing, some would say. Next question. In 1910, Lord Baden-Powell's older brother, he wrote a book called Sea Scouting and Seamanship for Boys. In Denmark, we also have a lot of Sea Scout groups who use all of the coastline around Denmark and all of the lakes for their scouting activities. But how much coastline is there actually in Denmark? How much space do they have, these scouts, to play with? Is it 2,300 kilometers? Is it 5,500 or 7,300 kilometers? And you have some time again. Just a brief moment. This is a quick quiz. And all very relevant knowledge. Right. It is the last option. It is 7,300 kilometers. So there is plenty of space for sea scouting activities and water activities in Denmark, which is something that would also be a very big and essential part of the activities program at the World Scout Jamboree in 2031. Someone else who was very good at seas were the Vikings. They were known for their seafaring skills and sailed around and explored vast areas of the world. Harald Blåtand, a Viking who was famous for unifying Denmark and Norway, he had a technology named after him in 1997. What is that technology called? Is it called a Wi-Fi? Is it called Bluetooth or Ethernet? So a Viking has a technology named after him. That's pretty cool, I would say.
If you're from Scandinavia, I think you can, guess it from the actual name.
Yes, exactly. Because the right answer is Bluetooth. Bluetooth in Danish or in Nordic, in Scandinavian, means blue a blue tooth. So that is actually what he was called, this Viking king. He was famous, as I said, for unifying Denmark and Norway, something that's also very similar to what scouting is doing at these jamborees. A jamboree is about creating an experience where we unify, where we come together across cultures and countries and regions and to join in together to create a positive change. Last question. In Denmark, the next 2 national Scout Jamborees have already been set with the dates. It will be in 2026 and in 2030. The Danish Scout Associations, there's 5 of them, we have joined together for the past many years in an alliance to host national Scout Jamborees together. We've done that 3 times over the past 12 years, over the past 12 years. And at each of the jamborees, there's been an average of 10% international participants at these national jamborees. But how many scouts have taken part at each jamboree by average? So 3 jamborees. How many scouts? Has it been 28,000, 36,000, or 32,000 scouts per jamboree? This is the last question. This is your last chance to get 5 out of 5 correct answers. The reward is bragging rights, which is pretty good, I would say. Right. The correct answer is 36,000 scouts. 36,000 scouts at an average has participated in each of the national jamborees that have been hosted in unison by all 5 national scout associations. And as we said, at each of these, a lot of international participants have taken part. And we will host 2 more of these. So there's plenty of opportunities for the next years to check out Denmark before you join us for the 27th World Scout Jamboree in 2031. Thank you for taking part in this small quiz. Now we're going to dig into the content of our bid and get a little more knowledge on what it is we want to do with our jamboree in 2031. We wish to create a jamboree where the impact that you can't help feeling and the experience that we give to the scouts and to the adults and the ISTs, this impact, we want to amplify it because it's such a life-changing experience for most people taking part in a jamboree. It's something you remember for the rest of your life. It's something you continue to tell stories about and share all of these fun memories. And this impact is something we want to amplify, so it doesn't just create an impact for the actual people taking part, but also for the whole NSO sending their scouts and the movement as a whole. So we want to make sure that this is not something that only affects the 50,000, but the 50 million scouts that we have in our global movement. We want to do this by creating, influencing, and volunteering. Creating means empowering youth to develop skills to create a better world through the World Scout Jamboree. Influencing means enabling scouts to influence and drive a positive change in their local societies and in the global movement. And lastly, volunteering means reinventing ways of attracting and empowering volunteers to amplify, to make even more the movement's growth and promote volunteering as a positive tool for action.
Yes. And going through the next couple of slides, we will again, like Ida said, go through some of the highlights of what it is to do a World Scout Jamboree. But we are not able to go into details in this short session, but you will get like a baseline of our thinking and you know the direction we have been moving in. So hopefully that will give you something to build on. And again, in the end, a big international team will do all the detailed work. For program, we want an engaging and adventurous program based on the Scout method and the theme that Ida just presented for the Jamboree. For us, that means that all the Scouts are going to be learning through games, play, and sports. For example, there will be an international patrol challenge. We'll have the cultural day and much more of these thematic inputs to the activity part. One of the highlights that we really appreciate is in our plan is to do an impact plan that all participants will bring back home. So throughout the whole World Scout Jamboree, each participant will develop their own impact plan that they can bring back home and actually have an influence that is formulated to their surroundings, their local communities, and again be one of 50,000 ambassadors that will go back into the world and really make positive changes.
Yes, and this impact plan is also something that they're not just doing or creating with their own with people in their own patrols or from their own country. This is something that will be done with input and together in collaboration with all of the other participants in international patrols, so we ensure that we have the international perspective and the cultural meeting, so the Scouts can learn from each other's differences and challenges and skills and competencies from all around the world, and take all of that into the impact plan and make it relevant for their local surroundings.
Exactly.
Yeah. And where will we do all of this? We have a campsite for the 27th World Scout Jamboree that has space for 50,000 participants. It will be the same campsite that we use for the National Scout Jamboree the year before. So in 2030, we will have 40,000 Scouts who will use this Jamboree. So the Jamboree site will, by the time we come to it, already be established, and it will have been proven and tested the year before. This also is doable because we do have a strong collaboration with local authorities and national authorities who support us in both building the site and making sure we have everything that a site needs, but also making sure that we can use the surroundings of the municipality, city, and nature for all of our activities. So we have a campsite that's situated in a very green area of Denmark with a lot of hills. We call them mountains in Denmark, but out of respect to all of you, it's not mountains, it's just hills. But with a lot of hills, with a lot of forest, a lot of lakes and seaside, and also a lot of fields and open fields. So there's space to do all sorts of activities, and also use the local city, which will, with collaboration from the municipality, will be open, as well as learning institutions nearby, companies, NGOs, will all come together in shaping the Jamboree so that we can use the surroundings in the best way possible.
Yes, and for Denmark in general, when we talk about a site and where to be, you know, Denmark fortunately has a really stable environmental conditions. For us, a summer is mild weather. It's you know, we don't have these big natural disasters that we see around the world. Somehow Denmark has been kind of spared in this regard. Denmark as a country is also quite a safe country. Crime rates, you know, the support from the authorities, but also the belief in authorities are really strong here in Denmark. So it's also an opportunity for us to work together again with local authorities, national authorities, and both get the support, but also that the community is a safe place to be. So yeah, that's what we're looking into for Denmark and the site.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And also related to the site is, of course, the question of sustainability. This is something we find as a very crucial part of planning a jamboree, but not just something we consider now. It's always been a part of Scouting's DNA to think of how we impact the world, how we impact our surroundings, both the people we meet, but also the environment and the nature that we use for our activities, for our camps. So this is, of course, a very, very crucial element for us as well. We have the ambition of 100% green energy-driven jamboree. This is quite a realistic ambition because the Danish government has already set the same goal. So we can work in close collaboration also again with local authorities to ensure that all of the energy resources on the jamboree and for the jamboree can be green energy. We are also connected to municipality resources, so water, electricity, sewage systems, infrastructure that's already there. It's some of the questions we've gotten from some of you or some of your peers at the other sessions, is that how do we ensure sustainability when it's a new site? But because Denmark is such a small country, it's the infrastructure that we need for a camp, to have toilets and to have water and electricity. It's actually already there, so it's not something that we have to go, and it's already there because we also built the jamboree the year before. So in collaboration with the municipality, we can ensure that we do it in a way where it doesn't create a large impact on the surroundings. Then we have a big priority of ensuring food waste programs, because we need a lot of good food for a jamboree. We need locally sourced and organic foods that's both nutritious and delicious. But it can be a challenge ensuring, or it can be a challenge with food for so many people to ensure that there's absolutely no food waste. So in terms of reducing food waste, but also making sure we have a good way to use whatever waste there might be, we will be in collaboration with local authorities and NGOs who expertise in this area. And then lastly, transportation. Transportation in Denmark is, well, there's many ways of transportation. You can walk and bike and swim to the jamboree. You can also take the ferry or the boat, but we will make sure, maybe it's too long to walk, but or swim. But we will make sure to offer alternative transportation suggestions to NSOs so that we can try to see how can we reduce the impact that we collectively have when we go to the jamboree. Because it is a big issue. We are a lot of people joining together wherever the jamboree is hosted. That will always be a big impact on our global climate. So we are looking into ways of how we can reduce that and offer alternative suggestions, transportation suggestions. Yeah.
Gathering so many NSOs from all around the world, we will have to look into visa and, you know, the global transportation. For us, the ambition and goal is that everyone in our movement will be able to join this jamboree. So this is a jamboree for all. And one of the things we have looked into is that we need to make a very large impact on the visa applications.
Yep.
Yeah. So what we have done is that we will dedicate a team that is only focused on supporting all the NSOs that need visas, so they can be the experts and they can also lift the burdens from the NSOs as much as possible. So it will be much more available to NSOs and all their members to join the jamboree. We already got a lot of support from the Danish government and even our Minister of Foreign Affairs. And if you look at the picture, he's the guy with the black shirt, and he is really fond of Scouts. So he has, we have his full support in this journey. Denmark is a place that has many access points also for the campsite. There's only 1 hour to the nearest international airport to the Jamboree. Denmark is connected with the European railroad system. The roads are good. So again, even public transport is organized. So if you want to go around Denmark, it's easy. And if you want to go to the Jamboree, it will also be easy. And we will also figure out from a World Scout Jamboree perspective to pick up all you guys at some certain hubs around Denmark to bring you all to the Jamboree when it starts.
Yes. Yeah, because certainly someone will maybe want to travel around Denmark or the surrounding countries before or after. Yeah. So that's an excellent point to bring to the table. In terms of organization, we are both I'll start again. We have our experience from hosting the previous national jamborees that we bring to the table, and this is something that we've held, as I said, 3 times before, and we'll do 2 times more. This experience has also given us the courage to put ourselves forward now, because now we believe that we have the experience and the capacity within our organization to start this process. But it's very important to say that the organizational team of a jamboree is not a national team. It's an international planning team that is behind a jamboree. So we put forward our expertise and us as the lead organizers, but we do that in collaboration with all of you volunteers from around the world, where we wish to create a transparent organizational structure. So it's transparent for everyone, both where responsibility lies, but also how you can be part of the team and where you need to go if you have concerns, comments about any of the aspects of the jamboree. As I said, an international planning team is part of a jamboree, and we will, through open calls throughout the whole process, planning process, ensure that we have an international planning team, because we need to create the best jamboree, and a jamboree that really considers cultural, regional needs. We need to ensure that that everyone is also part of the planning process. So through open calls, we will invite everyone in. We will also be in direct contact with the regional offices to ensure that they support us in spreading the message, so that we can find volunteers from all around our movement. And once we have a planning team, we will put 2 people in charge of every area in a dual leadership. And we do this because it's really important that there's, and to make the leadership more resilient, to ensure that there's both room for working together with each other and perhaps not being too stressed out personally, because it is a lot of work doing a jamboree, but also to enable more capacity building. Because in this way we can have someone who's maybe very experienced in infrastructure or safety, and someone who's a little bit less experienced but eager to learn and has some new perspectives, and then those 2 can join together and have the leadership role. This way we also ensure capacity building, so that the pool of volunteers in WASM gets even bigger, so that we, after this jamboree and after every jamboree, ensure that we have a lot of collective experience in hosting safe and fun and engaging world events.
Yes. So, as I said before, the ambition is that the whole movement will join this camp. And in this ambition, we also know there's, for some NSOs, it is harder than for others. So, to equalize the participation, we will set up an ambition to bring much more funds into the into the Solidarity Fund. Our ambition is to allocate 10% of the budget to the Solidarity Fund, which is 4 times more than the WASM requirements. But it's something we see as crucial to our mission of getting everyone to participate in the camp, because we know a lot of these long travels, a lot of these heavy economical burdens when we're doing a big camp will challenge some NSOs and some members. So we will try to include everyone by putting even more funds behind that mission. And the way and why we believe this is possible to put so much of the budget into this is because in Denmark we have a lot of experience working together with external funds, like having external funding from other NGOs, from big company foundations, from international foundations. And this experience we will bring into play to put even more external funding into our Jamboree, having the possibility to support all the NSOs in participating, and again, just making it more sustainable economically to host a World Scout Jamboree.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Oh, we're already at patrol time. Perfect. So this was a brief introduction to all of, or to some of the parts of our Jamboree bid. This was just some of it. If there's something that you feel like we haven't touched upon, write a question or a comment in the chat, and then we will get back to it after this short patrol engagement time here. Now it's time to engage with you. So this is your moment as well to bring on all of your inputs and reflections. We are going to look into both some of our dreams for the World Scout Jamboree and some of the impact that we wish to see. Write in the chat or raise your hand, and then we will give the floor to you. And firstly, we're going to dream. Imagine the I think someone is trying to say something for us already. Sorry, can I see? We get something.
Oh, we all.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Because we already got someone who has a question,
Perfect.
live question. So
let's do it. Let's get them through.
Yes. We'll just wait for the sound here in the studio,
yeah.
so we can actually hear the question.
Let's hear.
And the technicians are working.
Yeah.
Working and
maybe something's happening. I'm excited to hear.
Hello.
Oh. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, my name is Ramazani. I'm in the Congo, and I'm 2 questions about your NSO for this jamboree.
Yeah.
My question is about professional and volunteers. The first question is we note that in the jamborees led by European countries, in the organizing community, we do not fund any Africans. If it's too much, 5%. The proof is for this jamboree in Poland. What guarantee can you give us so that we can vote for you in view of this World Conference in Egypt about my country? Will this concern be taken into account? This is my first question.
Yes.
And my second question is for volunteers, the same thing. There are very competent candidates from my NASO, the Congo NASO. We play each time about the Poland Jamboree. And although competent, but they were never chosen. How do you plan to follow up of this question? Is this the policy of the European Union, or en fait, the problem is about the Europe? This why we talk in my ENASO, if we can give our vote about your ENASO, we can think you can resolve this problem. This is my question, because I'm one of member of my delegation, and we can give you our votes. And we ask this question for us, for we ask. I ask this question for my NSO. If you give me the guarantee about this question, we can give you our votes in this conference. Thank you very much. This is my question.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Raman from Congo. And to try to give you a short answer, and again, let's talk together if you need a more detailed answer. But from the first question, I hear that, you know, how can we ensure that the African region will be represented in the organizing level at the planning team.
Yeah.
And from our perspective, that is very important, and we will aim for a multi-international planning team and organization. So, like Ida said before regarding the organization, we will in due time put out open calls. We will ask all NSOs to put forward people that they think will benefit, and again, capacity build from all around the world. And I think one of the strengths in our bid is, like Ida said, that even if we might look at some applications where we might find some who are more experienced or have more competencies to do a certain area, but in our dual leadership plan, it is the plan to take also people who has less experience or different genders. It's a good way to be able to mix the leadership roles and the, you know, where we can capacity build.
Yeah.
So, like our guarantee is that we will reach out to all of you, and we will take into consideration that we need all regions, like as many countries as possible, to participate in our organization, in the planning team, to make this jamboree a truly international jamboree.
Yeah, and can I just add to that, because this also leads to the answer of the next question, or our comment on that, is that in both getting international people, volunteers in our planning team, and then also volunteers for the actual jamboree, this is where I think the close collaboration with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is very important, because we've addressed the issue of visa with them many times, because we know that this can be a big challenge, and the visa systems are sometimes not very transparent, and they have promised us to work together with us closely. We also have the support from the Danish youth organization, who has a centuries of years of experience in this, and they have agreed on joining the visa support team so that all of their experience and competencies can be joined. So we make sure we take some of the burden from the volunteers joining us for ISTs or joining us for the planning team. Some of the visa burden can be taken off their shoulders and can be given to us in the visa support team. But yeah, and the same goes for the volunteers, because I know that there is competent candidates for volunteers and for planning team all around our movement, and it's so crucial that we get these to get all of the international perspectives. This is also why I think it's important that we also ensure to reach out to the regional offices, because the regional offices have a much more in-depth knowledge about the region's members and capacities and competencies. So, to answer your question for all of them, like Kasper said, making sure we have open calls throughout the whole process, and also having place in the planning team structure for both someone super competent English speaking and someone maybe not so competent from Denmark can join together, or still competent but not so experienced, can join together and take the leadership together. The support from the government in terms of visa, and lastly the support from the regional offices to make sure we reach out to everyone and have that reach out.
And I will just shortly address your feeling that Europe, like you're right, you said something about the jamboree led by Europeans are difficult to engage with, and I think I don't see it as a European problem. I think if you feel that way, I think we should look into the specific jamboree or whatever event it is, because there's no from our part, there's no issue in collaborating with the whole world. And I know from a Danish perspective, we have many partnerships with African countries, and we know that you bring a lot to the table. So I think that, you know, I don't see an issue, and I don't see that you are not going to be a part of the organization or IST program or whatever you're wishing for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ramasamy. Sorry for that question. And I'm just looking at the time, and I'm considering a little bit that we take this part. It's a super brief patrol hour, very short, and then we'll move on to the questions, because I know I can see in the chat that there's a lot of questions. So it's really important that we address this. I just want you to reflect upon, we're going to smush them together. Very briefly, what are some of the challenges that you see the young people are facing in 2031, and what can we as a movement and as a World Scout Jamboree do to address some of these things? And what are some of the things that you want the Scouts to learn at a World Scout Jamboree? So what can we do to address challenges for youth, and what do you think they should learn? It's a very big question to do at a very short time, but we would just love your input as well, because for us this is something we take in to shaping our bid and hopefully the Jamboree going forward after Cairo. Yeah.
And we'll just give you a short minute to try and clarify a question in the chat, or again raise your hand if you want to say it out loud. Yeah, and then we will of course also move on to the Q&A.
Yeah.
But let's see if anyone is quick at the taps.
The taps at the, well, I don't know what it's called. Yeah, taps. At the keyboard.
At the keyboard.
Is that what it's called? No. Sometimes the correct English words just
they disappear.
Disappear. Even that word disappeared. All right. What does the action in the chat say?
Ramasamy is just catching up on his
points
from earlier, but I don't see any question or inputs regarding these questions right now.
Perhaps how, while you continue writing on it, I mean, we could use a lot of time on this part as well, but just according to being respectful of your time, we are going to look at the one comment that has been named now, and then we will move on to the Q&A. Yeah, Kasper?
I'll just read it out loud here. It's Sarah, and she says, our big challenge is unemployment, so entrepreneurship could be something we would like to see as an option. It's a really good input,
Yes, thank you so much for that, Sarah. I think entrepreneurship and scouting go very well together. Here in Denmark, at least, if you're applying for a job or something, you always have to say that you're a scout, because people just know that scouts are doers and scouts make things happen. In terms of entrepreneuring, many of the skills we learn in scouting are very valuable skills if you want to be an entrepreneur in any area. But this would be definitely something that could be a quite a big part of the program, and especially something that's interesting in a multicultural setting like a jamboree is, because here's where all of the perspectives from countries you don't maybe normally talk to can be very interesting. So that's a great point. We'll definitely, I think that's definitely something that needs to be addressed, and also a challenge that we will also see in 2031. Yeah.
I think again, this great input is something we'll take into account and also bring into the planning team when the time is to plan the details of the camp, because of course the camp is not planned in detail now.
No.
But I think we have a lot of there will be a lot of great assets to draw some knowledge from regarding entrepreneurship.
Definitely.
Even Denmark has had a big partnership with Tunisia, where entrepreneurship was one of the themes. So again, drawing a lot of experience and then putting it into the jamboree, so we can build this capacity in our scouts.
Definitely.
Would be great. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that, Sarah. Now it's time for us to invite Mathilde up with us to join us. She has been writing in some answers in the Q&A. Just come up here, yeah.
Yep.
And now she's brought some of the questions to the table.
And welcome to the.
So welcome.
Thank
welcome
you.
to the table.
Thank you. So happy to see so many of you. Yes.
Good to see you. All right, bring it on.
Yeah. Okay. So we have got a couple of questions, and the first question I would like to bring to you is about sustainable travels, because you mentioned that you want to find alternative suggestions, but I figured that for some people it might be like you have to travel far away from, you have to travel by airplane. But how do you can you elaborate on this? How will you try to make alternative suggestions for people coming from far away as well?
Definitely.
I'll just start off. I think the idea of the jamboree doing some preliminary work, trying to figure out how we can suggest these alternatives is the first step. Because when you're an NSO and you're going to bring your delegation, often you have to take the choices that you're met with, and you don't have the time to go into a lot of alternatives. But that is why I think that we as a World Scout Jamboree should spend the time to do some of these ideas and pre-plans on how you could do it. So for example, coming from an African country, we would map out which airports it would be easy to reach, how you can get easily to Denmark. Maybe an alternative would be to travel to a Central European country and from there take a train. If we can see that would save some carbon footprint or whatever it is. But again, doing all these calculations for the NSOs and presenting them with alternatives instead of them having to figure it all out by themselves.
And especially for smaller delegations, sometimes coming into a hub close by Denmark. So Denmark being a European country, there's many international airports also in the surrounding countries. And perhaps it will make more sense for some of the smaller delegations or smaller contingents to join in at the same airport, perhaps in Denmark, perhaps in Germany, and from there take a shared transportation to the Jamboree site, so that we ensure that we travel more, that we use whenever we have a bus or we have a train or we have figured an alternative suggestion out, that we gather as many people as possible and then travel collectively. That's also one thing, is that we can perhaps save some carbon footprint on that. The other thing the other aspect is that then scouts will already meet there, and the Jamboree journey and the cultural meet will start already at the German rail station or somewhere else at the place where you're going to sail to the Jamboree. So we can also extend the trip, the experience with that. Thank you for
Yes.
that.
Thank you for the question.
Yeah, thank you for the question and thank you for your answers.
You're welcome.
So I have one more question from the group chat. So someone out there wants to know, what is your experience with establishing infrastructure for so many people in terms of water, electricity, toilets, showers, etc.?
Good question. Thank you for that. So as I mentioned briefly, we have the National Jamboree of Denmark taking part the year before, but also have a lot of experience in hosting previous national jamborees in Denmark. And some of the things that we've gotten very good at after doing this a couple of times is building an infrastructure where we know that there's toilets enough for everyone. There is a sufficient system for ensuring the sanitation, the medic supplies, the medical centers, the clinics, the way of transportation around the site. At the site, transportation will be mainly by walking, because it's not going to be, the distances will not be so long, but going out to activities, there will already be existing infrastructure, because we're building on the existing infrastructure in the municipality. But whatever additional things we need to build, we'll build that in collaboration with the National Jamboree. To say it more briefly, we have quite a bit experience in securing this the infrastructure, and are it's a very important part of it, because you need all the basics there. You need the toiletries, you need sanitation, and you need to have good medical clinics and good food supply systems, so that everything else, the fun parts, can run smoothly.
And I'll just add on that has been, that is how we use the national jamborees to build up to this World Scout jamborees. Because if we get all the basics right, before this World Scout jamboree, then we can focus on the content, the activity, the program, and again, for us, a good quality toilets and showers and stuff like that include hot water. It's a good place to sleep and be safe and stuff like that. Yeah. So if we get all that right, and that's what we have been training and already do at our national jamborees, then we can focus our efforts into something, the program, and that would be so nice.
Yeah. And a last point is that in this experience, we also have very good experience in collaborating with local health and security authorities. So police, firemen, any medical staff is also someone we work in very close collaboration with. So it will be a safe camp for everyone to take part in. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you for your answers. Are there any questions from the chat while I've been up here?
One question popped up here. I can just read it out loud.
Yeah.
Don't you think that holding the National Jamboree at the same location as the World Scout Jamboree may reduce the interest of your NSO members in the Jamboree? What is your opinion on this?
Thank you. That's a really interesting question, and a good question as well.
Yeah.
So a National Jamboree and a World Scout Jamboree are two very different events. They have a lot of things in common, of course, but at a World Scout Jamboree, with participants from potentially all 176 member countries, it is a very different experience that we can give to the local Danish Scouts. But it's also for the National Jamboree, the age group is very wide. It's from 6 years old to
Adult Scouts.
Adult Scouts, and however old you want to be, and whereas the Jamboree is a much more specific and narrow age group. I think that because in its nature the two events are so different because of the huge international and multicultural aspect of a Jamboree, that the Scouts of the Danish Scouts will wish to take part in both of them, and are very eager to learn and to use, both to learn from others, but also to use some of their scouting experience and to show to the rest of the world how we do scouting in Denmark. At least that's what we've learned so far from also doing these engagement sessions with the Danish Scouts, They're extremely eager to actually get the opportunity to engage with and learn from all their international friends. Yeah.
Again, and I think the reason why we have such engaging scouts here in Denmark is that the voluntary culture in Denmark is really big.
Yeah.
Like we volunteering for different, you know, extracurriculars and sports and stuff like that is a big thing in Denmark. So the capacity we have to put in voluntary resources is really good, and again, I think the motivation and, you know, whatever in our scout movement is so big for hosting this this event.
Yeah. I think it will be more a question of having to limit the number of things, because
exactly.
as you might know, when you're the host country, you also have a limit of how many of your national scouts you can send, because otherwise it would just be a national jamboree, and we're not interested in that, because we have that the year before. So it's more, I think that would be the biggest challenge, limiting it.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for that question.
Yeah, thank you for that question.
Yeah.
Time is really flying.
Yeah, I don't have any more questions.
Okay.
No.
Great.
But thank you
so
for
much,
that.
Mathilde.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us on stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you feel like there's some of the questions that you didn't really get an answer to or anything, or something else, or it brought a new question to mind, please write it in the chat, or here, or reach out to us and send us an email, write to us on Facebook or Instagram, or meet us in Cairo, but write to us, and we'll have a chat, and perhaps take a call, just one-on-one, and have some more fruitful discussions, hopefully, on how we can create a jamboree.
Yeah.
The next step for us is going to Cairo for the World Scout Conference, where we'll hopefully see some of you or some of your friends from your NSO, maybe physically in Cairo or maybe online, taking part in the conference from home. And there we will also invite all of you to come by our stand, our exhibition, where you can engage more with us, learn more about Denmark, join in on the daily quizzes and games. But yes, once again, reach out to us if there's anything.
Yeah. And again, we have the Facebook page if you need to learn more, and there's also contact information, there's emails. So again, reach out to us, and with all your questions or any great ideas is also welcome. So
definitely.
Yeah.
Yes. A lot of the things that have been given to us, the input from the last sessions and stuff, we've taken that into to this presentation as well, and using it forward. So it's really, really valuable. Yeah. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here in the morning, evening, afternoon, whatever time it is. It's truly a big experience to be able to meet with you and have you take part. And thank you for joining.
Hopefully we'll see you in Cairo.
Yes. Goodbye.
Thank you for the support. Bye.